Hi, welcome to Gamer Bullshit. Now, you're probably wondering, well, who the heck are we? We're just two guys doing a podcast talking about gaming and other nonsense you probably don't even care about. And if you're wondering, I'm Jacob. This is my good friend Austin. Say hello, Austin.
Hello.
Oh, now, we're kind of new to this, so we're just going to get straight into it. We got a couple topics we want to talk about. It's going to be very brief, very short, and to the point. That's how we are. We tell what we want to talk about, and we just talk about it, and that's it. We don't beat around the bush with it. So, first item on the agenda is Mortal Kombat on the last gen has been delayed again to the fall, but with no specific release date. If I believe that correct to be correct, Austin.
Well, this is the second time it's been delayed, which I find interesting. But yeah, they haven't even said the fall yet. They said they've given it. GameStop has given Mortal Kombat X on last gen consoles a placeholder date of December 31st of this year. So they don't even know when it's going to release. It was supposed to, if I remember correctly, it was going to come out on all systems in April, but then of course the last gen versions got delayed to I think this summer. At
Huh.
least I think GameStop had it for June 2nd on their website, but once again they have delayed it, and now no one knows when it's going to release.
Well, I don't really keep up with last gen all that much just because I'm so busy with other things, and it's just I feel like if you can't get a game to work on last gen by what the release date of the current gen is, why even bother? I mean, if it's like a couple weeks, kind of like with what I believe it was Shadow Mordor that did it, where they released it on this current gen, and then a week later or 2 weeks or something like that, they released it on everything, or it could have been everything. I can't quite recall. That's been a while ago. But I feel that unless you can do it fluently on the previous gen, why even bother? Why? I mean, I understand people don't necessarily. Not everyone's moved on to the current system. I probably wouldn't have been on the current gen myself if it hadn't been for the hype of Destiny, and look how that turned out. But it's gotten better with other games that have been released and everything. But if you can't if you can't get it running properly within a certain amount of time, you're just going to lose interest in it. Yeah, people are probably going to buy it, and especially since it's closer to the holiday season this fall or even in December, whatever. But the main interest in the game is going to be gone because there's going to be so many other games out. It's not going to be like, oh, Mortal Kombat's coming out in April where nothing else is coming out in April. Let's go get it now. No, it's going to be like, oh, well, there's Mortal Kombat, but then there's also, like Batman or, say Fallout 4 gets announced or something like that. And it comes out or XCOM, which is a big possibility that game's going to be coming out. Possibly that's being teased by 2K Games. But anyway, not to get off topic here. But that's just how I feel. If
Well,
you can't get it out at a specific time, and you keep delaying it, you might as well just stop because, I mean, I feel like Mortal Kombat X on this current gen is actually, while it's very basic, it's actually, I think it might be a little too advanced for last gen, even if they are running on a different engine. But you can go on with what you're saying. I think my point's been made pretty clear about it.
well, I agree with you. Like, I think if they can't get a last gen version of the game running on the last gen consoles, then I think there's a problem there, and that they should. I know they've spent time and money and effort into it, but obviously they're having a lot of issues with it if it's taking this long to get it out. And um, I know that Mortal Kombat X is running on a modified version of the Unreal Engine 3. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the issues or not.
Yeah.
I feel like it could because I mean Mortal Kombat X looks damn fine
Oh yeah,
on Xbox One and PS4.
oh totally. It's sexy.
And the fatalities, it's complete gore porn. But
Oh, but hey, you gotta have that in some video games. If not, I mean, it's just like, oh, what's the point? I saw a bunny today. I wanted to pet it.
but like I mean, so yeah, at this point it's like you said, the hype of the game's pretty much been killed now because it's been out for it's only been out
It's
for
almost been 2 months now.
yeah, it'll be 2 months soon, but I mean, for all those last gen players, they're either gonna have other games to play by then, even though a lot of support from developers or actually they're changing over. They're moving over to next gen now. They're not giving last gen as much support.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people who've been waiting out for the 360 and PS3 versions, it sucks for them because maybe they won't have the money or don't have the money to buy a next gen console.
Right, and then you've got games that are coming out, and like you said, because I'm actually looking on Kotaku right now, just because I want to have some kind of frame of reference. It Shadow Mordor did come out, and it was like for the later, and
Yeah,
then
but the
it
thing
was
is,
ca-
it
it
was
was
terrible
called
because
yeah,
the Nemesis system didn't work in it at all.
exactly.
They had to take that out because last gen couldn't handle it. And then also, if I remember correctly, the game kind of became mediocre on last gen just because it was like an open world.
It, without the Nemesis system, it was just another. It's just another
Open
third person
world.
open world, slasher with Lord of the Rings. When I love me some Lord of the Rings, you know that. I know you're not crazy about that, but I love me some Lord of the Rings. But I'll tell you what, I can't imagine that game without the Nemesis system because the Nemesis system is freaking
I
fantastic.
feel like it would be boring because then it wouldn't be like, oh, I killed this orc or I almost killed that orc, but now
But they
there's
interact.
nothing
They all
else.
have names and everything. But not to get off the topic, but to continue on, it said with the Shadow of Mordor coming out after the current gen, I also feel like with Mortal Kombat, with them presuming it to hopefully come out within the fall or maybe about Christmas time, I guarantee you a lot of people, because companies are dropping last gen, studios are dropping last gen. They're gonna want to go on and get a new console, and then you've got games that are exclusives like Witcher 3, the Mad Max game that's coming out, Batman, the Assassin's Creed is strictly going to next gen now, which I think is a good step. But I think they need to take a year or two off and make sure the game works instead of trying to do a annual thing
Another
because
Unity.
there. Well, I didn't even play Unity because I
Okay,
heard it was so many problems. But you
I'm not
know,
a fan of Assassin's Creed, but I rented Assassin's Creed Unity the like week it came out or like the week after it came out,
yeah,
and even with the first update it had, it oh my gosh, it did not play well.
right.
The
Give me Black Flag any day.
like I remember one of the first things I did, I ran through a crowd and the frames dropped so bad that I'm like, oh my gosh, like it was so choppy.
Yeah.
So just Assassin's Creed, don't get me started.
That's a topic for another day. But then of course you've got other studios that aren't dropping,
Yeah, like
last gen like Call of Duty and
Black Ops
Madden.
3 is gonna be everything.
Yeah, which
Um,
I feel like that franchise needs to die because I feel like as much as it has revolutionized first person shooting, I feel like that kind of stopped after I don't know, maybe it probably started to falter a little bit at Black Ops. Yeah, some of the stories and in Black Ops and stuff was all right and everything, but I feel like graphically they just haven't really improved all that much. I played Advanced Warfare. Story was pretty cool, but honestly, I felt the multiplayer was just too much of the same. Just slightly improved graphics. I feel like Call of Duty either needs to die and just come up with a new franchise because frankly annual franchises, they're just getting on my nerves really badly. I want new content. I don't want to remasters too, but I really don't want to stray off topic here. I want to keep this very very organized here, but you know
well,
I don't know, the annual, I feel like the annual stuff just really really hurts pushing forward into the future of the current gen and just
I want to go back to a topic. I actually want to go back to the whole point of people not having next gen consoles. And
oh, okay.
this is just my opinion. Now I'm going to come off as an asshole. But this November will mark 2 years since the consoles have been out. If
Yeah.
you don't have a next gen console by this holiday season, I don't feel sorry for you because you've had plenty of time to gather money to buy a next gen console.
Yeah.
So if you're upset that last gen's getting less support, well, I mean, those consoles have been out for more than 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. There's plenty of great games on them, and if you're still playing games on them because you have a backlog, good for you. You don't want to move the next gen, that's fine. But like, if you're the type of person who's mad that you're getting less games on it, though, I'm sorry. The new consoles have been out for a while now.
Yeah, it's like uh, it just one makes you feel old and everything. The 360 and the PS3 came out 10 years ago. 10 years. That I'm pretty sure that the last gen was probably the longest running gen, and it's
I
arguably
think
one of
it
the
was.
best.
I
I
actually
think it
think it was. I think
honestly
it was the
it's
longest generation of consoles.
I think it's the longest, and I honestly feel like right now anyway, it's probably the best because there was so many great games that came out and everything, and
Well, there
I
was
feel
so much innovation
there
last
really
gen
there really was.
because of how powerful the platform. I mean, the consoles were. I mean,
Exactly.
and since the developers, found out that they could do this, and they learned from their previous games and their previous developments and everything, everything exploded.
It was
And
scary.
it was great. And
It,
like
phew.
people bitch about innovation now, and it's like, I'm sorry, but humans can only do so much. We can only like do so much with our imaginations, and then like we can only improve on the little things.
Right.
It's like gaming is a form of entertainment.
It
Like
really
the
is.
movies have pretty much done everything now, have they not?
Uh,
Almost,
Honestly,
almost.
in one sense or another, they have, and that's why you get a lot of like remakes of games and things like that. But at the same time, you do get things that might necessarily be the same kind of plot or same kind of movie, but they do something different. They shoot the movie specifically. They do the action a certain way. Maybe the dialogue is different than what your normal thing is. There's a whole bunch of different factors, but frankly, people still go to the movies. Like same with I love me some superhero movies. We both do. But at the same time, structurally, they're all pretty much the same. You got a superhero or superheroes. You got a
What drives
super,
me mad though about most movies,
what?
and this doesn't just deal with superhero movies. This deals with most movies. No matter what movie it is, there usually is some sort of love interest. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Why does
yeah.
every single story have to have like a romance?
Exactly. I don't have a love romance, and I'm 22 for crying out loud.
Uh,
I don't have a love romance
I
while
don't
going on
get
at
it.
work or something. It's stupid. It's like like I understand they maybe want to connect people, like they want some kind of connection. But in my opinion, if you can't get someone connected to the main character, either through something he's going through or like just the way he is, and you have to have a love interest for someone to actually be interested, then I'm sorry, unless it's a chick flick, a love story, or something like that, you don't have a credible movie.
It's it's just yeah.
I like a good, love story. I mean, I think Titanic's pretty cool, but that's like a love story with the
You did
epic
not just
type.
say Titanic was cool.
I did say Titanic. You know
No.
why? Because even though some of the love aspects is cheesy, I'm not even talking about the King of the World. I'm talking about the I'm flying, Jack. I'm flying. No, that is
Are you
cheese.
even a man?
Yeah, you want me to prove to you you're a man next time I come over your house?
I'm just
That just got to a weird place. But
I'm just disgusted at this moment. I don't even know if I can talk to you right now because I'm so disgusted.
okay, well, you didn't let me finish. I
No,
was saying,
Titanic is disgusting.
okay, but
It's foul.
okay, well, time out. Can you at least admit that the sinking part is really well done and kind of makes up for the fact that the love story is really cheesy?
It's been so long since I've seen that scene, I couldn't even tell you anymore.
Okay, but you have to at least admit that that movie was cool just because that one guy hit that propeller. I mean, he was like, oh!
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
When the guy jumps off the boat. Anyway, point we're trying to make is here, everybody. We're
The point we're trying to make is we're off topic, but that's okay.
I know exactly, but that's where that happens. We're two guys, we're two friends, and when we talk, we sometimes delve into other things.
And
I
we're
think
young
people
and dumb.
we're young and dumb. There you go. That's that should be our slogan. We're young and dumb. That's our excuse.
Sadly, this is a whole learning experience for all of us.
It really is.
We still don't know how this whole thing is going to go. This is just the beginning of this podcast, and we're still trying to learn how exactly we're going to do it. So you're going to have
Exactly.
to forgive us.
Yeah,
because this
if
is a
we
whole new
suck,
experience.
if we suck, you can just tell us we suck. That's whatever. But
Or
if you
give
like
us
listening to us,
hints, or say, hey guys, try this, and if we like your idea, we may take it into consideration. If we don't, well then I guess it's just not going to
exactly,
happen.
we're not some of these people that are all high. Oh, I don't believe in interacting with the crowd. The crowd is nothing. It's like if it wasn't for me, these people would bull. Stop it. we're we're people too. We understand. We're probably some of the most criticizing. Like
We're very opinionated.
really,
Especially I'm very opinionated. I always
yes.
have been. It's always been a problem. I try to hold back. I try to hold it back in my older age because there's time and place and there's things that you just don't have to say. But when I was younger, I did not know how to shut my mouth.
Yes. Sometimes you still don't.
Yeah, and then
Sometimes you just
all
average.
the
Yeah,
old
yeah,
people
yeah,
listening to
yeah.
us talk about right now is like, you're 22, you're still young, you're like a baby.
Back in my day, we thought being old was 22. Boy, was I wrong.
you think mowing the lawn with a riding mower is hard? Boy, I had the clippers,
The
the
clippers.
wheels and the
I had to
blades, and I had to walk it all.
I had to measure each blade of grass with a ruler. Granted, my yard was only 2 foot, but that's besides the point. But I mean, if we can somehow get back on the topic of the generations,
Wait, which generations were we talking about? The consoles or the people?
oh my gosh, we were on topic and we didn't even really realize it. Oh my gosh.
See, look, hey, it's a theme. We got
Holy
a theme
cow.
going on.
That was actually kind of scary. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's genius.
Wow.
We did this on purpose,
I
guys.
yeah.
I'm actually full of shit, but
Yes, he is. He's been constipated for a week. I'm just kidding. But no, and when it talks of generation of the consoles, it's I feel, of course, I feel like last gen just needs to die. I thought 2013 was like the perfect year for it with Last of Us, GTA, BioShock Infinite. In my opinion, some of the best games to come out on that generation. And I know it's cliche to say since it was pretty much the end of it, but sometimes it's not how you start, it's how you go out with the bang. Because of course, last gen started out with the red ring and the yellow ring, and then very few games. You had King Kong and Perfect. What was it? Perfect Dark Zero, that one shooter game on the 360. Do you remember?
yeah, Perfect Dark Zero. Yeah.
Yeah, Perfect Dark Zero, and then PS3 had Resistance and something else.
Resistance.
Well, that's what it was. Well, that's what it was. Hey, that's actually not a terrible game, but it
Yeah,
almost felt like
it.
it almost felt like a Gears ripoff to me. But that was, even though it was before Gears.
Rip-off. It wasn't a third person cover shooter though. It was a first person shooter.
I'm talking about the style of it with the creatures and everything.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, I do feel
Chimera or whatever they were called.
it felt almost kind of like the same genre, almost. If we were talking of like movies.
Well, they were sci-fi shooters.
You know what? Shut up. But the way it started, it was kind of like, what's going on with the games? Then you got games like Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty, and then you had GTA 4 come out, and that was just like considered the best game.
And then you had like the goofy little games like Little Big Planet.
Yeah, and then
Which was, by the way, I'm sorry, if you've never played a Little Big Planet game, I know they're cheesy, but they're cute as hell and they're actually enjoyable to play, especially when you play user-created levels.
yeah, something I don't normally do is delve into cutesy type games, and I have played Little Big Planet. While it's something I don't necessarily enjoy playing, at the same time, it's kind of like, this is kind of relaxing. And then, there's probably other games I'm missing out. And then you got like those indie games. You got those indie games like Journey, which I never fully played, but I played it over at Austin's house, and that game is cool. And then you get back to like the more serious games like LA Noire, which I know you never played, but I freaking love that game. It's one of my all-time favorites. Red Dead Redemption. I know I'm listing off Rockstar games here, but
you are listing off Rockstar games. Like you also got to remember that we also got some great games for even niche players. Like Demon's Souls came out on PS3, and then they released Dark Souls on both consoles, and that everybody kind of exploded over that with the whole difficulty thing. But then
Yeah.
also with the type of gameplay, like with the whole invasions and helping your friends out through like summoning signs, like
Oh yeah.
that was really neat how they did that.
I didn't really get into those kind of games until a couple years ago when me and you started really hanging out after we graduated. They're still not my favorites, but you know what can you do? I enjoy Bloodborne. I just haven't had time to play it because of Witcher. But anyway, um, but you know, I felt like that generation ended on a really good note, and the fact that this current generation is going on, you know, and granted, it's not off to a great start. There's been a bunch of remasters. There's still several remasters coming through,
Yeah,
and
I'm sorry. Like, don't get me wrong. I like being able to play some games. See, I didn't have an Xbox 360 during 2013, so I
right,
wasn't able to play some of those great games like The Last of Us. Yeah, The Last of Us and Grand Theft Auto 5. So I was really pissed because I mean, I wanted to play those games, but I was like, I don't have a console to play them on right now, and I don't want to buy one right now.
exactly,
So I mean, I'm grateful that they remastered them so I could play them because I never got to play them.
exactly.
But at the same time, there's some games that are getting remastered that I'm like, why are you remastering that? Like, like I just
Devil
said tonight when we were hanging out earlier. Devil May Cry 4. Like, I'm sorry, that game I think came out in like it was either
2012 or 13.
no, dude, no, Devil May Cry 4. Like this,
Oh, four. No, that came out in
what 07, 08?
'08 or '07, something like that, or even
Yeah.
'09.
Okay,
Hold on a sec. I'm gonna look it up real
it
quick.
was on 360 and I think PS3.
Yes.
And they're remastering that for PS4 and Xbox One. Like, why? Why remaster that game? Like, of all game, like I know 360 got the Devil May Cry HD collection 1 through 3, which I actually bought for the 360 and loved. But
Yeah.
I mean, of all games, like they just remastered the newest Devil May Cry, the reboot.
Yeah, and that was from 2013.
Yeah. So it's just a lot.
Okay, Devil. The initial release date for Devil May Cry 4, January 31st, 2008. A 7-year-old game, people, is getting remastered. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, what about the Pokemon games? Shut up. That's handheld console. It's a
Sorry,
little
they've done that
bit
for
different.
years.
Nintendo
Nintendo
actually does
has done
something
that.
different. They've done it for years. They've got it. I know it's going to sound like we're Nintendo fanboys. That's like the first time we've talked about Nintendo in this entire podcast. But I mean that and the Zelda games are probably the only games they really remaster, and maybe some of the Fire Emblems. I think they're remastering some of the Fire Emblems if I'm not mistaken. But the one thing about the remastered of those games is they make them compatible with what is current with those Pokemon games, and they add some new stuff to it to make it fresh. They like, of course, they improve the graphic style and everything, but you know, I just feel they do probably the best job of remasters because let's face it, like while GTA 5 and Last of Us were beautiful, beautiful remasters, it wasn't a game. Those are like if you're doing like a year or two ago tops, not um um sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Not something from like 7 years ago when um you know when the last gen's engine wasn't very good. So, but anyway, I mean, you have anything to add on to that,
Not
Austin?
really. Not really.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, changing gears here. Witcher 3 came out last week. I loved Witcher 2. Austin, he never really played it. He didn't play Witcher
I
2.
never
I
played it,
think
actually. I've never played a Witcher
it,
game until recently.
it yeah, he never played a Witcher game until recently. I've never played the first one. I've always only had a console. I
Most
still
people
only have a
haven't.
console. I don't like playing on PC.
Most people have only played
Exactly.
Witcher 2, but I don't know if you've ever watched a video of Witcher 1 gameplay, but it looks so awful. I've seen gameplay of
It
it, and
really
I've seen the
does. I mean,
combat, and it's so bad looking.
and like I looked at it recently because I was really interested because I never really thought about looking it up, and I was like, well, for the time, you know, it wasn't terrible, but thinking about it, it's kind of like, ooh, it's not very good. And then I played Witcher 2, when it came out on consoles in 2012 because I was working at Walmart at the time. Don't ever work at Walmart, by the way. I don't care what anyone says. I was working electronics, and of course, I always had access to the games and everything. And I saw Witcher 2, and I was like, "Wow, that looks really interesting. It's a rated M game. It looks really cool, everything." And I bought it, and I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Honestly, I thought it had beaten Skyrim and everything except for open world. Which I mean, at the time, like, what game could beat Skyrim in open world besides another Bethesda game? Um, but I always thought that if Witcher 2 or the Witcher series, if it could get up to the open world, it would become really great. Like where people would actually want it because everyone just wants open world these days, which I love good open world game, but I feel like it's getting saturated a little too much. Um,
Excuse me.
but
You know what's
my
saturated?
overall,
Sorry for
actually,
going
you know
off.
what? I've been
Sorry
talking
for
about.
going off topic. What's really saturated? I know you don't do PC gaming, and I only do it a little bit. But if you go on Steam right now, it's almost like every single game that gets released or is on early access is a survival game. Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah,
disgusting. Every game's an open world
yeah,
survival game, and
it
it
is.
makes me want to blow my brains out. I'm like, can no. I understand it's so appealing to create something like that because, like, you play those games, you're like, wouldn't it be cool though if you could do this and that? Oh, wait, why don't I make that? But it's so bloated and saturated. It's like, people, especially this early access crap. It's like your
Yeah,
ambitions are so big that you can't even keep up with them.
exactly.
So, but
But
yeah, I get your whole thing about the open world thing. It's getting saturated. Yeah, like almost every game that releases now is open world. I actually I don't know like okay, I'm not and I'm sorry for going back to the Bloodborne and Dark Souls series, but I kind of want to
oh, go ahead,
see.
man.
I
Go
kind of
ahead.
want to see a little bit
So
more games that are set up like those, like with their worlds. Like they're like open world, but they're not open world. Like they're closed space, closed sections, but there's plenty to explore in those
they're an
sections.
open linear world.
Yeah, but the thing is, the
Exactly.
nice
I,
thing
I
about those games,
completely
they're
I
not
agree with you.
linear though. Technically, you can go where you want unless it's a dead end that you need an item to get into. But most of those games,
Yes.
you can go to pretty much any location you would like, and also on top of it, um, oh, well, where was I going with this? It's not necessarily linear. It's just you can do what you want in it, but and everything in the game, the sections they connect. I don't know. I know you've never played a game long enough to realize that with
Yes.
the From Software games, but their worlds, everywhere you
Yeah.
go is somehow connected with the rest of the world. Like, um,
No, I do understand that because in the short amount of time I've played Bloodborne, like I've found and many times as I've died and everything, I've kind of ventured off and looked at our stuff and it's got all this other connecting stuff and it's like, oh wow, that's actually really
well,
interesting. It's
here
like I can
I'm
go
gonna,
this
I'm gonna
way
tell you one thing
once
because it
and
doesn't
then,
really spoil anything. But there's this one section in the game called the Forbidden Woods, and you think you're so far away from the city of Yharnam, right? When you're in the Forbidden Woods, like
Mhm.
you're like, I'm really far down here and everything, and eventually you'll find a path that goes into a cave system, and then there's a ladder, and you climb up that ladder, and it actually takes you to the very beginning of the game at Yoselka's clinic.
Huh.
Yes, and it's
That's
it's it's really neat because in the beginning of the game, if you remember right, when you walk out of Yoselka's clinic, there's a right passageway and a left passageway, but the right passageway is blocked and you can't get through it because it's blocked by a like a lever or something, by a
Oh
door.
yeah, I know. Yep, I know what you're talking about.
Well, later in the game, if you go into the Forbidden Woods and find that shortcut, you can open it up.
Wow, that's
So that's what
insane.
that's why I like those games. I like games like that because they're like they're like this world you can explore, but it is a certain pathway, but at the end of it all, it's all connected, and I find that so neat and intriguing how From Software has been able to do that because there's that sense of knowing where you are in the world. It's so neat because in
Yeah.
open world, sometimes you feel like you get lost, which I don't normally have that problem because I'm pretty good with a sense of direction. but I
Oh
can
yeah.
see people in an open world getting lost.
Oh yeah. I mean, really, to kind of bring it maybe back a little bit back to The Witcher, it's like I'll be the first to admit for Witcher 3, I am flat out enjoying it. I haven't enjoyed a game this much since probably I don't know, maybe BioShock Infinite or like a GTA 5 or Last of Us. I enjoyed Diablo 3. I thought that was a fun game. I usually don't play those kind of games, but I thought I'd give it a shot. Same with a couple other games. There's been games that I absolutely thought I would like and I did not like at all. Destiny. Sorry, I coughed and
The
some came.
Traveler.
Forget the Traveler. Oh God. Sorry, inside joke. You'll come to learn that we blame everything on the Traveler. But, I acknowledge that The Witcher 3 is not a perfect game. I understand that. Now, do I think it's probably one of the best game of this current generation? Arguably, yes. Now, I know it does, like, the frame rate has some issues sometimes when things get cray-cray. I understand the control scheme is not perfect. It was like that in Witcher 2, but frankly, I feel it's comfortable enough to get used to and perform adequately. And I do believe that the difficulty can fluctuate. I do like that, because the game is so huge, like it'll automatically give you like a little pathway, for your missions and stuff. And a lot of people were probably complaining about that when they heard about that. But frankly, if you don't have that, you'll get lost because you think you're going the right way. It's like, oh no, there's a big mountain right here and you can't get up this mountain. You have to go all the way around, and it saves a bunch of time. But honestly, I love The Witcher 3. I think the storytelling is fantastic. I've been waiting for a game that delivers on emotional impact, a game where I actually care about the characters. I haven't had a game where I can care about the characters since Last of Us. Like truly take care of, like in GTA 5, like I tolerate the characters because they're so ludicrous and out there that it just makes me laugh. It's not something that I like, oh, I care for these characters. I can relate to these. I can't relate to criminals. The worst thing I ever done was, what is the worst thing I've ever honestly, I've probably done something a little worse than that. When I was like in second or third grade, you remember book orders?
Why does that sound familiar?
Where you get like a catalog of books,
Yes.
and then you'd go and like either write out a check or give cash to like certain books, and choose which ones you want, and then you send it in, and like a month or two later, like you'll get those specific books. Well, this is kind of funny. It's not funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now. We had a book order, and I don't even think I wanted like necessarily every book in there, but I was wanting a lot of stuff in there. So what I did, everything except for the girl stuff, I marked on the order, and then I took one of my mom's check and I put $1,000. And then, no, and then I've never told you this story. And then I gave it in, and the teacher always checks. I didn't really know this, but the teacher always checks to make sure that everything was in order with the money and everything. Well, I guess she got to mine, and I didn't even rip the check out very well. Like it was kind of ripped up top and everything. And I got a little bit of trouble for that. That's probably the worst thing I've ever done. That's probably even worse than speeding. I tried to forge a check. Didn't exactly work. Didn't really know the repercussions either.
Oh my god, I can't believe you in second grade would do something like that.
Well, I didn't really think it was bad. I just wanted books. I was a book nerd. I was a book nerd back then.
And now you're a movie nerd.
Hey, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. But I can't relate to criminals. Like in GTA 5. I almost lost track of what we were talking about there for a second. But in this game, like even though I can't necessarily connect to the situations that they're in with all these mythical beasts and everything, I care for these characters. They've got heart, they've got soul. Even Geralt, who seems like he speaks in monotone all the time, he actually does have, I feel, characters that are very subdued. When they do show emotion, I feel it makes more of an impact. And I love the story in this game. I love things like that. I'm very story driven. That's why I don't like, the only reason I even play multiplayer games is because I want to play with my friends. It's not because I enjoy playing them necessarily on multiplayer, but I just enjoy playing with my friends. But I play games for the story. That's why I like movies. I like a good story. I like to be involved. And I feel like this is a game that it gets me emotionally. As soon as I start playing, I can't, unless I've got to go somewhere. Ever since I've been on vacation, I've been playing it in like 5, 6, 8 hour spurts. That's not even a joke, people. If you don't believe me, ask Austin. He knows how much I've been
Yeah,
playing on
every
my
time I
on
get
my
on my
on my play.
PS4, he's either watching a movie or he's on The Witcher. And then when he's on The Witcher, he's not on it for an hour. It's like 6, 8 hours.
Exactly.
Because
And
I'll
it's
get
like,
on, and then I'll get off to go do something, either on my Vita or my PS4. I'll get back on maybe a few hours later. Oh, Jacob's still online. Oh, guess what? He's playing The Witcher.
surprise. I feel it is a very great game. I know it's not perfect, but honestly, it's a game that I've enjoyed immensely. It's probably the first game on this generation, not counting Last of Us or GTA, that I have no lifed. And those were games that I already played on the last gen because I had played them on PS3 and 360 prior to that. But when it comes to this generation, it is the first game that I have no lifed. And if I no life a game, it means I'm into it and it means I love it. And Austin, I think it's your turn. You've had trouble. Why don't you kind of explain what your problems with The Witcher is? Because I think there are people that realize that it's not a perfect game. I realize it's not a perfect game, but I am enjoying it immensely. I feel it's good that you don't necessarily care for it at this moment. But why don't we try and go into detail about that?
You sound like a girl who's like totally in love with like a boy band right now. Like you're being such a you're being
Geralt of
yeah, you're being such a little
Rivia!
fanboy. It's hilarious. Like,
But
I don't see you, I don't see you get googly eyed over a game so much. I don't think
well,
I've ever seen you get so, you know, uh, driven or motivated to play a game.
it's the
So,
first one that's actually
well,
enveloped. It's engrossed me in its world. Now,
I know, and
Bloodborne,
and
I
I'm
enjoy.
happy for you because I don't think I've seen that ever, and if I have, it's been a long time. So I legitimately am happy for you because I feel like you're getting your money's worth out of your PS4.
Oh, I got it. I got the money on my PS4 with The Witcher within 8 hours of playing, I'd say. But I mean, you can go on and talk about your. I don't know if I would say grievances, maybe complaints, or just whatever. I've talked way too much in this podcast, but
Like there's there's so many things I don't really want to list them all because it's like I guess you can consider them nitpicking or just my experience. But like when I first started the game, okay, I've never played a Witcher game ever before, so this is my very first Witcher game, which was probably a mistake. But I'm I started in I don't suck at games, okay? I'm not bad at games. So,
he doesn't. I can't get to the Souls games, so
but like I started the game out on normal. Never ever playing a Witcher game before, so I am not familiar with it whatsoever. And I was having so many problems with the difficulty of it that I just got frustrated with it. And I'm starting a new playthrough. I just completely restarted from the beginning, and now I'm playing on easy. And so far, I'm doing okay. I haven't really gotten that far on the easy difficulty yet because I've only restarted tonight. And I only played for like probably 2 hours. But the my few gripes with the game are the controls, like the movement controls. The movement in the game does not feel as good as other games. It feels a little off and goofy. I don't like how when I barely move my analog stick, Geralt decides to go into a sprint. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not pressing that hard on the analog stick. And like when you're trying to turn him around in buildings and doors, he's really weird to control.
yeah.
I don't like the movement controls for the game.
I
The layout of the controls are fine. It's just the movement controls I do not like. The
I
other gripe
can.
I have is the amount of cutscenes in this game is ridiculous. Like when I go talk to a blacksmith, I shouldn't have to see a cutscene of Geralt walking up to him and saying, "What you got?" and then talking to the merchant or the blacksmith. Like I should just walk up to the character and like see a little speech bubble above their head, and then go into a menu where it shows me their goods, like every other game. But no, every NPC you talk to that's you actually have a conversation with. It's gotta have a little cutscene where Geralt's like, "What you got?" Like, I don't care. And then there was this one scene, not spoiling anything, but it was a series scene. Her and another character just look at each other, and then it lets you play. I'm sorry, I didn't have to see them looking at each other. Like, you did the action that I was supposed to watch. Now let me play instead of having them doing the action, going up a cliff or a ledge or whatever, and then after they get up there, looking at each other. Right when they get up on the ledge, you should allow me to play. I'm sorry. What a waste of time.
But in its defense, Witcher isn't like every other game.
Just, but okay, but this is what kills me. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to compare games.
Oh boy.
The Witcher, I know, is open world and all that, and it's supposed to be a game. It didn't. It was going for an open world feel with meaningful quests and meaningful characters. Now, The Order 1886, when they said they're going for a movie feel, so that means plenty of cutscenes. Everyone bitches, and I still bitch about the cutscenes in The Order 1886, the amount of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like no one's complaining about the amount of cutscenes in The Witcher 3. And it drives me mad because, like, I'm like, okay, I hated the amount in The Order, and all these stupid little ones I'm seeing in The Witcher are bothering me. I guess because since they're more spread out, because you're in an open world, it's not so bad. But still, like, the pointless cutscenes bug me.
Another thing about like if you were going to compare The Order and Witcher with the cutscenes is, I feel like people really complained about The Order is because people were expecting a lot longer of a game. Is it probably the most gorgeous game of this current generation? Yeah, I'd say it is, honestly.
It's a damn fine looking game.
It's probably one of the best looking games I've ever seen on a console, at least. I mean, really, probably even close to a PC, probably PC purist out there. Like, actually, just shut up.
PC elitist, yeah.
PC elitist, yeah. But I feel like the main reason they got mad at The Order is because they thought it was gonna be a lot longer. But honestly, I felt like the biggest problem with that game was the fact that it was so short. I feel like gameplay was pretty solid for a third-person type shooter. I enjoy story-driven games, as I've said probably a million times in this, not even a full hour yet. But, I enjoy a really well-written story. And right when the story gets really, really interesting in the game, it ends. Just like that, snap a finger. And it's like,
yeah, it's a really bad cliffhanger. Like
it's like, really,
and then you're like, that's it, no more. That's it.
It's like it just got interesting.
The game, I mean, I guess it's good because the game, it leaves you wanting more, but it was so short that you're like, and especially since it's only a story mode game, there's no multiplayer, there's no co-op.
Oh my gosh,
nothing.
yes.
It's just story. Paying $60 for that, a game that only takes literally
7 or 8 hours, maybe
7 to 8 hours, depending on how fast you're playing it. That's like, man, it hurts to pay that amount of money and not and not have that amount of content. There's games I can get for $60 that have way more content.
Exactly. That's why I love The Witcher 3. Because, yeah, is there a lot of cutscenes? Absolutely.
I get more content out of Minecraft than I do The Order, and I only had to pay like $20 for Minecraft.
Exactly. It's like, it's such a different game, but at the same time, it's like, it's amazing how much more hours you can get out of a simpler game than you can this big budget, one. And The Order 1886 was one of my most anticipated games this year, just because I saw the footage. I believe it was from E3 or something. Whenever they first showed it, and I was like, "Oh my god, that game looks amazing! It looks awesome! It looks like it's monster hunting, something I love, a genre that I feel hasn't been as explored as much as others." And I love a good monster hunt. But when I played it, I was like, "This is a good game, but it's just way, way too short." It's just like, I'm glad I red boxed it, just like you. I mean, I'm glad I didn't pay $60. I was really tempted to, but but that's why I love The Witcher 3 so much, because it's a beautiful game. It's not like pushing the boundaries of your console necessarily. It is, but it isn't. It's a gorgeous game. and it's got so much content in it. I've probably spent about at least 30 hours into the game. I'm getting pretty close, I think, to the end of the storyline itself. But there's so many other side quests I got to do. There's a bunch of monsters I guarantee you I haven't seen yet, and there's just so much. And I've put more hours into this game than probably most other games that I've played in several years, besides maybe GTA. But that's complete.
I've wasted slash so much time in a Grand Theft Auto, and I mean not just single player. I'm talking online.
Yeah, I'd say I probably.
Sadly.
Yeah, he's probably played online more than I have. At least on PlayStation 4. When I was on 360, I played it quite a bit, but I didn't like level up. Me and my cousin, we just always lollygagged or whatever. But
No, Jacob, I think I still have spent more time on it
yeah,
than you.
you probably have, to be honest. Um, but I acknowledge that Witcher 3 has its problems. I understand some of the, there's times where the way the movement is or something like that, where it's like, oh, this is kind of frustrating. And yeah, there might be a little bit too many quests, that, don't necessarily seem important. But from someone who's almost beaten the game, I can say that it is real, like, it's very fulfilling. That was one thing about Witcher 2 that, I really thought was cool, because in Skyrim, people was like, oh, there's so much content. There's so many missions you could do. And I played Skyrim and I bought it and everything. And I was like, yeah, there's a lot of missions, but I don't feel the urge to have to do these. Like, yeah, you got to do them to level up and stuff like that. But I didn't feel any real urge to actually play it. Like,
Yeah.
play those. Like, it was just kind of like, oh,
And
do it to level up.
it's
It's like,
funny that you say that because, see, like, even though I didn't like the fetch quest, but I mean, when I got into Skyrim, I wanted to explore, like, everything. Like, I was so engrossed in its world, and I think the reason why, and this goes back to my personal opinion, my personal preference. I think it's because it was first person.
possibly. But
Because
the thing about
I
Skyrim and
prefer
everything.
first person games over third person, just for the sheer fact that I feel more immersed in the game when it's in first person than I do third. Now, I
I,
understand third because usually you're supposed to see the world through a character, not you, and I get that. But to this very day, I still prefer first, just because, like I said, Skyrim, I was I wanted to explore everything, like every nook and cranny, and just I don't know, like a better and same thing with Fallout 3. Like, oh my god, I actually still prefer Fallout 3 over Skyrim, but
right.
it's just because I'm more of a sci-fi guy than I am a fantasy guy. But
I like both, but I enjoy Fallout 3 more. I just feel like the visuals weren't quite as good as Skyrim's, but they weren't far off,
well,
which is
Fallout 3 came out in I think
oh 08.
yeah '08, so of
Yeah,
course it would have been.
about 3 year difference. But you know, there's only been a couple of first person shooter games type games that actually engrossed me. Crisis, I believe 2 did that to me, which was a great looking game when it came out. Let's see, what was the other? There's a couple other ones. I don't know if it like straight up engrossed me because of its visuals, but Modern Warfare, the very first one, like I felt like that was probably the best first person shooter that I've ever played.
Well, it had a good campaign.
Oh my gosh, that campaign was sick. And then of course Modern Warfare 2 and 3 pretty much just reworked it some. I tell you what, that all gillied up mission, that's still one of my all time favorite missions. That one and the mission right
Sad
after
thing
it.
is, that's the mission everyone talks about.
It is. What's crazy is there's a whole, like, that whole storyline has amazing levels. But everyone always talks about the all gillied up because no one ever really done that before.
Yeah, it's like the most memorable
Yeah.
mission.
Yeah. And I mean, you take it to a Fallout type city, a real city, Chernobyl, that had a nuclear plant meltdown. It's like, I didn't even know that was real until like my junior year. Like 2 years after the game came out, like I was in science class and I was just looking through stuff and it showed a picture of Chernobyl and stuff and everything, talking about nuclear, breakdown and all that good stuff. And I was like, holy crap, that's an actual city. That's real. But, there hasn't been a whole lot of first person shooters that have actually engrossed me. There's been a couple, not a lot. I feel like like when I first played Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2, unlike Austin, I actually enjoy the Assassin's Creed. I do realize that they have faltered in the past 3, 4, 5 years. I enjoyed Black Flag a lot. but the recent stuff, for the most part, I haven't really cared for. I enjoy one was okay. Two was just one of the best games ever, in my opinion. Brotherhood felt like a good expansion, and then Revelations came out, which was a nice send off, and then wow, I'm drawing a blank. Three was just a little too boring and bland, but there's not really a whole lot of games that immerse me. And it's like, it takes a lot to immerse me in a game because the environment has to be just beautiful. The gameplay has to meld the storytelling, which is why I think I'm enjoying Witcher 3 so much.
I've had
Cause
quite a few games immerse me, all different. I've actually had a
excuse me.
first-person game immerse me,
Right. And
but
I enjoy a good first person shooter game. Like I think the
well, I'm not
last
even
first
talking first-person shooter games. I'm just talking first-person in general.
well, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. I say first person shooter because that's what most shooters are nowadays.
But I mean, I
I'd say
think I think immersion in games is another topic for another day.
it really you could spend probably about an hour on that alone.
Because I'm already thinking of games that I could tell you that immerse me, but I don't want to go on to them because I will talk about it forever.
Oh yeah. But to get back on The Witcher, I understand your gripes with it, and you know,
Hey,
some
hey,
people
I've
agree.
given it. I'm trying. I've given it like 4 chances. I'm trying.
He's
Okay.
really wanting it
This
to.
is like my
He
fourth
want
chance. I want to like this game, but if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna trade it in. Like, I'm sorry. It's not
he's
for
really
everyone, but I am trying.
he really wants to like it, and I can tell he does because he was so amped up for it, and I was amped up for it,
Well, yeah,
and
every single trailer I saw in gameplay, I was like, dude, that looks really cool. That looks really neat. I want to go kill a griffin. The wild hunt looks badass. Look at that guy. He's stabbing him in the fucking back. Like,
oh my gosh, he's shooting fire out of his hands. He's using the force. What's going on?
Jedi mind tricks.
These aren't the droids you're looking for. These aren't the griffins you're looking for. That's my terrible Geralt impression. At least Ozin says terrible. What do you guys think? Do you think my Geralt impersonation's terrible? You will say that it's not, because I am Geralt.
It's not like, I don't know. I don't think it's raspy and quiet enough.
Well, I'm sorry that my regular voice isn't raspy enough for you.
No, it just doesn't work, dude.
Oh, now I'm all sad now.
It's okay. We should
Puts
we should probably let the listeners go though.
oh, do we have to? Yeah, I guess you're right. All right, well, if anyone has listened to this, we thank you immensely. If we got off topic and it bugged the crap out of you, we're really sorry. Like we said from the beginning and the middle and everything, we're just two guys, two really good friends, just, talking about gaming. If you go off topic, if you never go off topic ever in conversations, you're a freaking liar. Okay. It just doesn't happen. But if you enjoyed this at all, I mean, feel free to share this with anybody. We're not doing this for, to get famous or anything. We're doing it because we enjoy talking about games. We enjoy meeting people who talk about games and live games. It's something we do as a hobby, and we just want voices to be heard. And we've talked about doing this for a long time, and we just thank you if you listen to this.
Yeah, we finally committed to it and decided to try it. So that's what we're doing. We're trying this out. And if we like it, we're going to do our best to continue it as long as we feel like it's worth our time and effort.
Exactly.
And if not, then we'll just stop. But
Exactly.
we really would appreciate it if you had any tips or for us, or what you would like us to do and not do. Like I said, we'll take some things into consideration. I can't say everything. I'm going to be honest with you.
It's like,
but
we don't know how big we'll get, if we even get big, it's like, that's just me being stupid. But, we appreciate if you listen to us. If you enjoyed our content or anything, tell friends about us, anybody who you think might like it or enjoys games, and they think, that they'll like it. We try not to delve too off topic. I know we did several times, but I always felt it was within the realm of what we were talking about. So, I mean,
and I just want to add something. I know with this being a podcast, we would like the beginning of a podcast. We would like to do this, at least make a podcast once a week. Not saying it'll be the same day every week, because we have differing schedules and different jobs, and so we won't be able to do it every day, or okay,
Every same
the
day
same
each week.
day every week, but we will do our best to always at least get one podcast up every week, just not knowing when. So we will
Exactly.
definitely update our podcast, and I'm probably going to make a Twitter tonight to update everyone that hey, it's up and running. Go check it out. But yeah, on the next podcast, I will have the information for you of where to find us, where to follow us, and hopefully this will work.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm, especially when you give me something to talk about. I really enjoy talking about it. How about you, Austin, man?
Yeah, dude, I enjoy talking to you, so
Yeah,
this
there.
is why it works out.
He just likes listening to my sexy voice.
Yes,
I
that's
could
it.
lull him to
I love it.
sleep.
I'm going to go to bed now.
Gonna go to bed.
Yes, your
Oh,
voice, it put me to sleep.
go to sleep, little Austin.
Okay, now I'm awake.
Oh, okay.
My, I, no, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, thanks again, everybody who was listening to this. We thank you. This has been Gamer Bullshit.